Okay, so this was yesterday. I'm in the car with my mom. We're riding around doing errands and stuff. And then the radio comes on. We're listening to this show, Mojo in the Morning. And they do this crazy thing on there called a senseless survey. Basically, they call up random people and they ask them all types of stupid questions. Like one question they asked this old lady. She answered the phone. They asked her how many how many uh how many leprechauns can she fit in her anal cavity. And the funny thing about it was this lady, she was answering the questions, like these dumb ass questions. She was answering them. Like he was like, how many leprechauns can, and I automatically thought hornswoggle. That's why I like caught my attention. But he was like, how many leprechauns can you fit in your anal cavity? And she was like, I don't know, maybe I don't even think I could fit one. And this lady is like sitting up answering the questions and stuff. And basically the whole basis of this thing, they ask you these dumb questions after dumb question after dumb question, seeing how long it takes you to hang up. So they asked her this one question, and they asked her, should the carpet match the drapes? Do you all know what I mean by that? By the whole thing, should the carpet match the drapes? I gotta ask you. Do you know what I'm talking about? Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, because this applies to the story. So yeah, so they asked her that, like, should the carpet match the drapes? And she's like, not necessarily, I don't know. So she obviously, you could tell she didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So finally they asked her something about when she died, like she's close to death or something like that, and something about her funeral or something. And she finally hangs up the phone. But the funny thing about it was, my mom, she was sitting in the car and she was like, what is up with all these dumb questions that they're asking? And then I'm like, I guess it's just a thing that they do. And she she says, well, I don't know about the carpet matching the drapes. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say that they have to match. I bust out laughing because I'm like, she has no idea what this means. So she's like, yeah, and I'm just sitting there laughing. She's not paying any attention to my laugh at all. But she's like, yeah, I'm not saying that the carpet has to match the drapes. Basically, it depends on what type of furniture you have. So I'm just sitting here cracking up, like, does the carpet match the drapes? Meaning, I don't want to. Yeah, somebody just typed it in on there. So she's like, I'm not saying that it necessarily has to match the drapes. It just depends on what type of furniture you have. And she's going through different color patterns and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there. I stopped laughing and I'm trying to hold it in, but she's just sitting there like, I'm like, you don't have any idea what they're talking about. And she's just going on like, oh yeah, and like, say if you had a cream color carpet and you had like a tan color a couch, the drapes, they don't have to necessarily be that color. And I'm just sitting there so much cracking up. And then they asked her, the lady on the phone, they had asked her a question about Orville Redenbacher. They was like, did you know that Orville Redenbacher was born a woman? And she was like, oh no, I didn't know that. Then she was like, then they asked her, like, will that affect you buying his popcorn? And she was like, oh no, that won't have any effect on it. And then she's like, my mom was sitting there like, oh, what does Orville Redenbacher being born a woman have to do with popcorn? Like, I was still about to buy the popcorn. He makes good popcorn. And then she says, well, hey, women cook better than men anyway, so I would buy the popcorn even more. So finally, we get out the car, and she's like, yeah, like, they asking all these dumb questions and stuff. And I'm like, that's the point. That's the point. They ask so many dumb questions to see when you'll hang up. And she's like, oh, well, I would be sitting on the phone and I answer every question they ask me, and I'd be waiting for them to hang up. She was like, because I'm not hanging up the phone. So so yeah, that was just a funny story that I had to tell. I'm going to stop it right now.